my name is Lainey. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. For today's video, we're doing a 24-hour readathon. I have done this before, but I will link the video where I did the 24-hour challenge, I guess the usual way. I did it with my twin sister over on our share channel, but for today's video, this one is the timer version. So I don't know, we'll just see what I get into and how much I'm able to read within the 24-hour period spread across multiple days. Yeah, let's get into it. Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. Libby Day was 7 when her mother and 2 sisters were murdered in the Satan sacrifice of Kinnicky, Kansas. She survived and famously testified that her 15-year-old brother Ben was the killer. 25 years later, when the Kill Club, a secret society obsessed with notorious crimes, locates Libby and pumps her for details, proof its members hope may free Ben, she hatches a plan to profit off her tragic history. For a fee, she'll reconnect with the players from that night and report her findings to the club. As Libby's search takes her from shabby Missouri strip clubs to abandoned Oklahoma tourist towns, the unimaginable truth emerges and Libby finds herself right back where she started, on the run from a killer.
Hi, who's this?
I'm always in this in videos, but it is so cold, and this is like the heaviest thing that I could wear to like warm myself up. But anyways, this fucking book, I wish I gave my thoughts on the book before I started this, because I was about 13 pages in. I'm currently 44 pages in, just finished that previous chapter, and for the most part my thoughts are primarily the same, but I have switched up just a little bit. So when I made my TBR video, my TBR jar picks, my January reads, this is one of the books that I chose for that. When I did that TBR jar video, right, I was like, oh, she's milking like her shit for profit. Like, okay, we love a baddie who, I don't even know what I was thinking, but when I read it, I was like, okay, sis, okay, got you. I read 13 pages of this book like 2 days ago, right? I started it 2 days ago. Let me just say, the main character, Libby, she pissed me off. And I was like, I don't know. Obviously, I'm going to continue the book because it's interesting. But I was like, I'm going to suffer through it because I just don't like this MC. And my feelings on her, like my negative feelings on her, has definitely dwindled just a little bit. But at the same time, let me tell you, because this girl is very strapped for money, right? After the murder of her mother and her 2 sisters, and she confessed that it was her brother who did it, she inherited a bunch of money when she turned 18. Now she's 31. She basically has like $900 to her name. And she was just basically talking about like, oh, you know, she doesn't have money, but she doesn't want to get a job. It's a mix of she doesn't want to get a job slash I think because of like what she went through, just being in the space of other people, like, you know, physically cannot just hold a job also. So we have that for her. So that's why she's milking the situation, or she'll eventually, after like page 13, start milking the situation for profit, right? But this girl was talking about how she did a book deal. She got some money from that, a couple $1,000s from that for sure. But then she did a bunch of press. She was like, oh, she did a press. She went on press and met a group of young boys who were orphaned, and then met a group of other kids whose father killed their mother. But then when she realized she wasn't making money from that, she stopped it. The way my jaw dropped when I read that, I was like, oh. I was like, no, so you're not a boss ass bitch. You're just a bitch. Yeah. But the flashback scenes, that's why I'm saying my negative feeling has dwindled just a little bit, because you just can't, I think regardless of her personality, at least to me, I just can't not feel bad for the girl. But at the same time, I'm like, she's starting to piss me off. But we're about to start POV of her brother Ben. Yeah, her confession of the brother, like her confession of the brother being the killer is coming to question by the group that you know, she is deciding that she's gonna milk this group for profit because they're like obsessed with this case. It's come into question for sure, but then also you see lines where she says like, oh, like Ben's the killer, like he had to be because like that's the only way like she can stay mentally sane. It's come into question whether he was a killer, especially when she did the flashback scene and she's talking about how she heard other voices in the house. So, and also Ben in like present time had been writing to her since he got to prison, but she always threw the letters out, never once read them. And she talked about how the next letter she receives from him, because she's always sending her letters, she's going to give to the group, right, and sell it. So I do wonder what those letters said, because she even says that, oh, he never filed for an appeal, like, so that means he must be guilty. But she said this like before we really heard the flashback and heard her own inner thoughts about like, oh, he has to be the killer, he has to be the killer. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, is that your justification that he's the killer because he didn't file for an appeal? So then I was questioning. I was like, wait, did you actually see it? Because she kept saying like, oh, she saw him do it, she saw him do it. And the group was like, but how'd you see him do it if you like testified that you were in like the closet of like the mother's room the whole time? So it's a little bit weird, but the book is interesting despite her personality. So I'm gonna continue it.
Satan's son. And again. And then again.
Y'all, what did I just listen to? So I'm listening to the book, right? I'm 3 hours and 50 minutes and 23 seconds into the book. About maybe 3 hours 48 minutes. I'm listening to the book, watching some Animal Crossing long play, finishing up my Notion for the year, setting it up, right? Maybe 2 minutes before where I'm at currently, so maybe 3 hours and 48 minutes in, I don't understand what the fuck I was listening to. I don't understand. We're in the brother's POV, and honestly, like, triggers all around. Like, we're in the brother's POV, and the brother, during, like, the certain moments, I think he went to school, but he was also the janitor. He is describing this incident he has with a child, this very weird sexual incident that happened in the staircase. I mean, the incident itself wasn't explicitly sexual, but due to how it made him feel, he then rushed to the bathroom and just and then you know, I don't know what to say. It was so out of pocket, like my jaw dropped. What am I listening to right now? Honestly, I don't think there's anybody likable in this book. I have to be honest. So I'm just gonna continue it, but I'm proceeding with caution. So I'm in a very comfortable setup. It's so cold. I woke up, I did my chores for the day, ate some breakfast, showered, and now I'm laying down in bed. So comfortable. Fresh clothes, little light comforter, pillow, stuffed animals, and I have 100 pages left of this book. I'm on page 246 and there's 345 pages now. We're getting into the home stretch. What I like about this book is that it's multiple POVs. I also realized that I've been reading a lot of books with multiple POVs within this last year. When I started the Stardust Grail, that's a single POV, as far as I know, at least so far. And I was like, when I read that, I was like, oh my god, it's actually been a while since I read a single POV book. But anyways, we're back to reading multiple POVs again. But what I like about this is that whenever it goes to do the past, it does the past in the brother's POV and the mother's POV prior to the murders happening, and then they have timestamps as well. So it just helps, like, you know, form some sort of timeline for the entire book. Okay, so yeah, like I said, we're getting to the home stretch, getting quite good. We're getting there. I think in the past POV, the last timestamp was around 8 o'clock at night, I believe. And then the murders happen at 2 a.m. So we're getting quite close. So that's what I'm going to be spending my time doing. But we're so close. So close. I have to say, the way Gillian Flynn writes makes my emotions and how I perceive characters flip-flop. Certain characters, like, for sure, instantly, like, I don't like. There's a character named Deandra who is talked about in the past in Ben's POV because she was Ben's girlfriend. I don't like her, or this Trey guy who's another person that Ben was close with. So like my feelings to Libby for the most part has leaned more towards positive if you think of it like in a spectrum, but it's not like I wholeheartedly like really like her, but I will say I like her as her main character. I think she's very intriguing, she's very realistic, that she has these negative qualities that makes her more interesting than most characters are in like any books are a bit more straight faced. So but I brought this up because I wanted to talk about Ben. I didn't really have any perception towards Ben until when it's kind of confirmed that he might have actually not killed the family. It's like, oh my god, I feel so bad. But then when we see more of him in the past time, plus information that Libby dad brings up, plus now back in the mother's POV around 9 at night, she's in his room and you're seeing more stuff. I'm like, Ben himself was not a good guy, right? He was not a nice guy, he was not a nice brother, but I don't think that means that he's a murderer for sure, but my idea of him flip-flops a little bit. I don't know, I just think the writing is so interesting. Oh my god. I have 85 pages, so we're gonna truck through this a little bit. I'm so nervous. Can't make this shit up, bro. What the fuck is going on in this book? Oh my god, we're getting so close though. We're going back to Ben's POV in the past. 1:11 a.m. So close to 2 a.m. And honestly, whenever I feel like we're so close, it just keeps going backward. Like no one fucking knows what really happened that night. Or do they? I don't know. Some people are lying for sure. So it's a little bit dark, but I think 9 hours later I finished the book. 8 to 9 hours later I finished the book. I think we have 15 hours 23 minutes and 31 seconds left. Literally, I got to the last page and I turned it and it was the acknowledgement and I was like, that's it. Like that's literally what I said. I need to reflect a little bit, maybe take a nap. I will say what actually happened that night gets revealed in half of it. Maybe around like halfway into this book, half of it I went in knowing that is probably what happened, and then there was still some part of it that still shocked me. I feel like the other half was a little bit rushed. It did feel like it came out of nowhere when the truth was revealed. I think there was a slight callback to the beginning of the book, and when this thing got mentioned in the beginning of the book, I remember thinking like, oh, that was weird. It wasn't weird, but I mean, I guess in the scenario where it gets introduced, it wasn't weird, but in my head, I was like, I wonder if they're gonna call back to this, or did they just say this just to say it? And it does get called back to, but like I said, I feel like the way it gets called back to and the way this other half gets revealed was just a little rushed to me. I feel like we didn't really spend as much time on that side as we did with what I knew is what probably happened. Anyways, that was Dark Places. And also, last thing, we are 11 days into the year and I finished my first book of the year. So I just talked to my sister about my opinions on Dark Places, and I think I'm gonna rate it somewhere in the high 3-point range for sure. I was leaning to a 4-star rating, but I think a high 3 is totally fine, especially if I put the book into perspective with other books. I think a high 3 is totally fine for the book. I want to give final review, final points all at the end of the video when I'm done and I go through all the other books that I have read. But I will say for now, the characters were written in such a way that they were unlikable or irredeemable, but I think that's what made them intriguing and what invested me to want to continue and stick to the end of the book to kind of see what happens. I think regardless of, whether you approach the book, regardless of like whether or not Ben, the brother, actually killed his mother and his 2 sisters, I think that doesn't even obviously that matters, but I will say that like Ben as a character, as well as all the other characters that are mentioned in the book, may be shown to have their own POVs as well. So with maybe one incident, they might be innocent, or with one incident you might be sympathetic or empathetic, there is still another incident where they're the bad guys. They're not innocent. That's not somebody you can justifiably feel bad for. You know what I'm saying? So I think that way it's written so well, because I've read books where characters were unlikable and it really just brought down the quality of the book for me because I just couldn't connect. And while I couldn't really connect to any of these characters, I think the way it's done here, where there's like a mix and match kind of in a way, made me more invested. I don't want to see the book through to the end. So I could definitely see myself picking up another book by Gillian Flynn. Anyways, that's what I wanted to say. So I'm back from eating. I re-picked up the Stardust Grail. I did go several pages back and just kind of reread a little bit because I felt like if I just continued for where I left off, I'm not saying I would be too disinterested, but I just need to reread what I read before to kind of like pique my interest again, so I can keep this keep a momentum going. So I think I just reread maybe about like 2 or 3 pages, and currently I'm on page 46, and 47 is the last page in this chapter, and then 48 starts chapter 9. So I'm just gonna finish up these last 2 pages and then we're gonna move on and see if I can finish this challenge by Sunday night or very early Monday morning. I don't mind finishing it early Monday morning, if anything as well. But that's the plan. We're gonna continue this book, and yeah, that's it.
7 Good Reasons Not to Grow Up by Jimmy Gownley. Who is Kirby Finn? To his friends at Great Cliff Academy, Kirby seems to have it all: charm, brains, and a lucky streak that won't quit. He's also a notorious hero, creating the snarky video 7 Good Reasons Not to Grow Up, which expose just how dumb adults can be. Why would any kid want to become one of them? But there is also a mystery about Kirby, and when his best friend Raja finds out his secret, Kirby, Raja, and their friends have to grow up fast and face the world head on.
one down the rabbit hole. Alice was beginning to get very tired of sitting by her sister on the bank and of having nothing to do.
Good morning, guys. I have, I think, 40 minutes until I have to leave for my doctor's appointment. So I had a very productive morning. Woke up by 10, which is probably the earliest I've woken up in a minute, but I woke up by 10. I did some writing. Usually my routine is like doing some reading in the morning, but because I knew that I was going out and that I was going to read on the train and at the doctor's appointment place, you know, waiting in the waiting room and stuff, I didn't read as my first thing in the morning. I wrote. So I did some writing, exercised, showered, skincare. Now we're making breakfast. It's been 2 months since I've last seen a doctor about my condition, my pain, my issue. I've been walking, like leaning on the wall and limping for the last couple of days. So I'm leaving 30 minutes early. I don't need to leave 30 minutes early, like 15-20 minutes is fine, get on the train, yada yada yada. But because I've been walking slow for the last couple of days, I want to leave 30 minutes early to be on the safer side. I'm making bread and butter. Then I'm going to wash the banana, split it in half, and then put it on like the bread like it's like a hot dog or something, and then just have like a cup of like a glass of milk. Yes, that is a plan.
The Stardust Grail by Yume Katase. Save one world, doom her own. Maya Hoshimoto was once the best thief in the galaxy. For 10 years, she returned stolen artifacts to alien civilizations until a disastrous job forced her into hiding. Now she just wants to enjoy a quiet life as a graduate student of xenoanthropology, but she's haunted by persistent and disturbing visions of the future. Then an old friend comes to her with a job she can't refuse. Find a powerful object that could save an alien species from extinction, except no one has seen it in its living memory, and they aren't the only ones hunting for it. Maya set out on a breakneck quest through a universe teeming with strange life and ancient ruin. But the farther she goes, the more her visions cast a dark shadow over her team of friends, new and old. Someone will betray her along the way. Worse yet, in choosing to save one species, she may condemn humanity and Earth itself.
Hi guys, so I feel like I haven't even been talking, or it feels like it's been a minute since
someone will betray her along the way. Worse yet, in choosing to save one species, she may condemn humanity and Earth itself.
Read like a lot for a long amount of time was about 2 days ago when I went to the doctor. So I read at the doctor's office, I think about 30-40 pages within like, I want to say like an hour and a half. Yeah, we have 5 hours and 46 minutes left on the timer. So it's been a week. It's been a week since I started this. This was supposed to be just a weekend thing, and now it's extended to a week, and I really don't want it to extend any further because I'm going to be busy this weekend. So it's Thursday. I'm going to try to finish it up all today. We'll see how that goes. I think we're doing okay for ourselves. We finished an entire book so far. We are, I think, about to be halfway done in the graphic novel, and then I think I forgot where I am in the Stardust Grail. So I'm pretty confident that we'll at least get 2 books done, about 2.5. So not bad for a 24-hour period. I mean, not straight, but if I was doing this all in one sitting, it wouldn't be bad for a 24-hour period. listening to Alice in the Wonderland, I would say, for the last 5 or 6 years. Yeah, I think since the pandemic or maybe even before that, I've been listening to Alice in the Wonderland to go to sleep. Not consistently. I usually typically listen to rain sounds, but every once in a while, I need like someone talking in my ear. I forgot what the app is called, but there is a story called Starship 1 and 2 that is free to listen to on the app. So that's another one since the pandemic I've been listening to. But anyways, for the 5 or 6 years I've been listening to Alice in the Wonderland, I've never ever listened to the entire story. I was planning to listen to it while I wash my hair. So I'm listening to it on the way to the beauty supply stores. I can go pick up some hair and then I'll listen to it as I wash my hair later on as well.
Alice Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Alice's Adventure in Wonderland is a novel written by English author Charles Ludwig Dodson under the pseudonym Lewis Carroll. It tells of a girl named Alice falling through a rabbit hole in a fantasy world populated by peculiar anthropomorphic creatures. The tale plays with logic, giving the story lasting popularity with adults as well as children. It is considered to be one of the best examples of the literary nonsense genre. Its narrative course and structure, characters, and imagery have been enormously influential in both popular culture and literature, especially in the fantasy genre.
Okay, so I'm home now. It is 1:38 p.m. I have about 250 hours left, right? Something like that, 2 hours, 50 minutes, something like that. I have no idea why it's been a week, and over a week now, Friday, and I haven't hit 24 hours yet. That's scary. Hi guys. It is currently nighttime. Right now it is 9:08 p.m. I just finished wrapping up some editing and watching some YouTube videos. So I think we're going to switch gears now. I was supposed to do this a lot earlier, but we're gonna switch gears now and finally fucking finish the video. So I have these wafers that my mom brought home, and I already snacked on this. This was like almost full, but these are like spicy chips, spicy Cheetos. Snacking on that as well. I think I'm just gonna read this. I really don't want to be stressed right now, so I think I'm just gonna read this, and I will go beyond the 20 minutes, but I'm gonna finish this book. And then the starter squirrel, I have to say, I think this book took too long for the setup. I think the plot of this book is very simplistic to me in terms of like former thief, you know, something that she said she will never do again, and she's roped back into it. This is going to be the final time. We'll see if that truly is gonna be the final time. Has to have this dilemma about whether saving her people or her friends' people, and she's pretty quick to find her answer, but it might come up later on again where, you know, it's more of a problem, who knows. And then you go on the space adventure. I think this book took too long for a setup to get to that space adventure part. I think, I'm not saying what was shown before was unnecessary, but I do feel like it was quite long. I think around the 80 pages mark, she's actively going to the space and stuff like that. And like I said, I feel like I think the book is like 301 pages or 311 pages. I think it's way too long. I think that's what, for a book that started December 21st, I think that's what's taking me forever. Wait, like why in a month's time I only read over 100 pages? But simple does not mean bad. So I'm on page 105, chapter 19. That's where I'm gonna start reading from. But I think just for tonight, like I mentioned, I'm just gonna read this book. page layout for the books, for the panels and stuff like that. I just love how it looks. It's so creative, so outside the box, but I just love the layout for these. I guess unconventional is the word I'm technically looking for, but yeah. Good morning, guys. I fucking finished the challenge. If you can see that, Wednesday, January 22nd. And I'm glad that I finished this now because school is starting next week. Honestly, I would have screamed if I still had to do this. I have like an hour left in the Alice in Wonderland audio, so I just want to finish that up and then be proud that I finished 3 books in this video. And I think that's so good because if I finish 3 books before the month even ends, I'm gonna be like, what? I'm gonna be 1/4 done with my Goodreads goal. It's really good.
Pale and fidgeted. Give your evidence. Yet what I like. You might just
Hi guys, so welcome to the end of this video. Can I first say I don't know why this took me like 2 weeks to do, but I will say splitting up the hours for today's is a lot more harder than doing it in one sitting, because one, I've done it in one sitting before. It's on the channel that I share with my twin sister, but let me be quick because this video is longer than I wanted it to be, and let's get into my reviews and my thoughts on all the books that I read. So first off, we have Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. I talked about this book extensively. I don't think I need to say anything more. The more I think about this book, the more I talk about this book, because I finished this book 2 weeks ago, like January 10th, January 11th. And the more I think about this book, I just get angrier. But also at the same time, I like that I'm angry, but it is what it is. I was really leaning to give this book originally like a 4-star, and then I think I put it down to 3.90, and then it might be a 3.75. This is my rating for Dark Places. It's definitely in the high 3s for sure. I think one thing I will say, I think I kind of misspoke in the video. I think I'll leave it in because I'm going to correct myself now. I said at one point that the ending, in terms of the reveal, half of it I expected, half of it I didn't. The actual scene and the way the murders happen, you already hear, and that's already revealed. Wow, sirens. Okay, great. What I meant by half of it I expected, it was mainly about the reveal of the murderer. I had assumed about halfway or maybe 3/4 into the book, it was mainly the person who committed that action. I predict half of it because it's like a twofold thing. But I still stand by what I said for the other half, that I felt like I think more time could have been given to that specific part, and I just felt like just kind of like thrown in there as like a sentence or two, and I was like, oh, that's it. So I will say that. Anything else about the book? I think that's it. So that was Dark Places. The second book I read for the video we'll save for last because I didn't finish it, but the second book I've started and finished in this video is 7 Good Reasons. Actually, I started this book in my last 24-hour challenge I did with my sister back in the summer. I think I got 20 pages in because it was at the tail end of that challenge, and I just didn't remember what I read, so I restarted it for this video. I would say funny, sentimental, and emotional near the end. I did feel like the ending I did not like. The last like 10-ish pages, I kind of felt like it just happened. Maybe a little bit more build up to that, and then the last page itself just left me with more questions than answers. But quick, light read. I enjoyed it, and I think I mentioned this when I talked about it, but the page layout is so unorthodox, unconventional. I love how some of these pages are like styled. Like, it's not traditional, and I think that's what makes this appealing to me in terms of like from an artistic standpoint. So that was that. And then my rating for this book, I'm gonna say a 3. Yeah. Okay, so now Alice in Wonderland. Also, I think because I was editing this, I kept saying Alice in the Wonderland, and I don't know why. Alice in Wonderland. Anywho, like I've stated multiple times, I think I've listened to this one to fall asleep to for many years, and I never listened to it straight. And before I decided that I was gonna listen to it all the way straight, I was listening to it for the challenge. So I would maybe listen to about 10 minutes of it, 40 minutes of it, let the timer run out, and then when I was getting tired, I would pause the timer but continue the story and just fall asleep to, you know, the narrator speaking in my ear. But then I think when I had about like 3 hours left or something around that, I was like, wait a minute, let me listen to the whole thing. I don't really know exactly what to say about the story. Some of it I remember from the movie, some of it I remember just because, like I said, I've been listening to it for so long, so I finally got context for certain scenes. I will say I love the writing when you actually pay attention to what you're listening to. I really love the writing, and I think that I can give it a higher score if I ever go ahead and reread the story, but physically, so I can actually like look at the writing style and understand that a little bit more. I'm giving Alice in Wonderland 4 stars. I like it. And then lastly, the second book I started reading in this video but that I did not finish was The Stardust Grail, which sucks because I had already started this book before any of the others and I was really hoping that I would finish it. I think I gave my thoughts about this book in terms of the plot being quite simple, and I want to say simple does not mean bad. Simple just means like it's not convoluted, not too complicated, nothing that you need to really wrap your head around. It's just, okay, I think simple is not the word. I think I'm looking for straightforward, maybe, right? But like I said, I think set up to her actually going to space, just, I don't know, I think it dragged on a little bit. I don't know why. I just wasn't really meshing with it. I was meshing with the beginning originally. If you looked at my thrifting video, I talk about the book. I like the book. And then the interest fell flat a little bit. Now it's slowly picking back up again. So hopefully I can make my way through this. I'm like 1/3. I think this book is like 311 pages. Yeah, the book is 311 pages and I'm like 104, 105, chapter 19. So, you know, I'm about 1/3 in, but that's the end of this video. Why this took over like 2 weeks, 2-ish week, no fucking clue. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. I'll link my Goodreads, Fable, and Storygraph down below as well. Yeah, I said my piece. Also, my goal for the year is 12 books, a book a month, just because last year I only read 7 and I'm down 3 and 1/3 book into the way of my reading goal. So I love that for me. So yeah, anyway, that's it. That's the video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Check out all the links down below. I'll see you guys next time. Mwah. Bye bye.